Alrighty. So I did have a comment from Temujin about my the video I made about Russia and Ukraine. And he said, agree to disagree. I appreciate the way he approached it with me. And God damn it. I'm going to say it this way because it is true. I guess I hold things that are, I guess I hold views that are, well, there's no I guess. I hold views that are maybe considered essentialist. And I've seen it enough time. I laugh because I see it enough times through people like American Johnson's chat where he, if I type something out like, well, the Japanese are like this or the Chinese are like this, and, they'll say that's essentialism. That's, and I say to myself, yeah, I guess I am a little bit too much essentialist, And when I said those comments to say, what do you mean, is Ukraine part of Russia or Poland? And I did it, and I showed him maps and everything, and it was a little bit more spurgy. The thing is, I think I felt like I was, on Twitter again, where it's just like, I need to, let me post my sources, bro, and I chose a cringe Reddit, pick that a lot of folks do, would show the referendum of who supported Ukraine from breaking off from the Soviet Union. And, a lot of the eastern parts up through most of the country said no, but there's a small contingent that said, yes, we should, which is the western part, which, of course, was part of the Polish-Lithuanian, what is it called? Hold on. Let me make sure here. Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. There we go. Yeah, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which goes back to 1569. Okay. So, I do realize that I guess that's essentialist to say these things. Like I said, it's a complicated issue. I think Temujin acted in good faith. Let me explain why, at least in my opinion, it's a complex issue. Because I don't want to be a neocon and be like, well, we need to defend the sovereignty of Ukraine, and then ignore the fact that, yeah, there are legitimate neo-Nazis like the Azov Battalion, of course, that people mention, or the Donbass Battalion, or whoever. And, we see statues to, Ukrainian collaborators with the Nazis. And, they have outlawed, Russian in favor of Ukrainian. Like I say, this is a very common thing, I think, that a lot of folks do. And it is like sports teams where it's like, we're going to support this over that. And, we're going to try to present nuance. And it's hard to present nuance. It's hard to present nuance because you can get over the hump of being, pro-American everything, but it's another hump to also try to be able to critique that other nation without feeling like you're stepping back into that sort of neocon sort of thinking, right? So it's challenging. It's challenging to try to admit that, yeah, there are problems with the U.S., but there's also problems with Russia. Or there's problems with the U.S., there's also problems in China. And you try not to be essentialist. And a lot of the time on the left, people don't like to talk about, how Chinese societies work, or how Chinese society work compares to America or the United States, or whichever. Like I said, it's a hard balance. And also, part of me is more of a social conservative, where it's like, look, if the Chinese want to embrace Confucianism and be able to respect that, they should be able to do that. or if a Sunni country wants to embrace Sharia law, then they should, to stabilize their country and to build some sort of solidarity, then they should be able to do that. This is one of the big problems that the left, one of the many problems that the left has, where it's like, we don't like Israel, but we don't like Hamas or Hezbollah either. And of course, I've seen that, they will call Hezbollah fascists as well. And I'm just like I said, and this is just ammunition for folks to say, well, just because they hold these things, it's very complex, right? And so there is an essentialism there where it's like, people that are against, the anti-China stuff, they'll say, well, actually, you're just racist against China because they're taking power, they're taking over. Oh man, I don't know if I'm doing this good. Please. Okay, that was just my cat. It's all right. So this is a very difficult subject to speak about in any realistic way. So I realize that there are a lot of stereotypes and a lot of essentialist ideas where it's just like, well, Chinese do this and Asian, or, Chinese do this and Americans do that. And, and there's these certain attitudes that exists, and it's just, or, the way people dress or whichever, right? And I think there's this idea of anarchism where it's just like, well, essentialism is bad, but it's like, well, people are going to feel a certain ways. Where it's like, you have progressive folks, but it's like, look, they have to be able to get people to support them. So they may realize that, this is not a good practice in their country, but it's like, this is where their culture is. Like I say, I don't know. People can say, well, culture comes from the capitalists and, everything else. And what's real culture? And, like I said, I'm being very schizo and I'm being very eschewing of my own actions. But the thing is, I do want to acknowledge, Temujin, what you said about, just because, a country may feel a certain way that you're tangentially separated from what they're doing. And that's true. That's true. That's why, in general, I tried to say that in the comment, but I don't really like to talk about these other countries, but I felt the need to because everybody else was talking about it. So I figured that I would give my very cheap 2 cents about it, which in retrospect was a bad idea. But, I'm going to keep it up because that way people can see it and be like, well, yeah. So I'm going to keep it up. That way people can feel as they want to about it. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it. That was a needlessly long video, but I feel like that it was needed to be said. And I know people will probably say that wasn't much of an apology or whatever. I was just explaining my reasoning. All right. So, yeah. I think that's all I have to say. Hopefully y'all enjoy that. See you later. Goodbye.